Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1285B and today's date is May 21st, 2017 and the title of the episode is The Bubbles and Illusions Are About to Be Popped. Now before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. On Saturday, I uploaded an interview with Harley Schlanger. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, and he talks about what Trump is trying to do with America and why the deep state is trying to stop him. So if you want to see that interview, go over to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, or you can come over to the X22Report.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, or you can go to newssentinel.com, same thing, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, and you can play the video right on the site. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, Trump is out of the country. He is traveling right now, and he's going to many different places. He's going to Saudi Arabia, he's going to Israel, he's going to the Vatican to meet with the Pope, he's going to Brussels, and a couple of other places. So his first stop is Saudi Arabia, and in Saudi Arabia, he signed this $350 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia. King Salman, well, he awarded Trump with this medal, and he does this to all the different politicians that come to his country. He gives them this medal. He did with Obama and the rest of them. And the medal was in return for the largest arms deal in history. Now, the $109 billion of the deal is for this year only. The $350 billion is over a decade. And, of course, individuals here in the United States, well, they'll be able to keep their job. Now, people are out there saying, well, Saudi Arabia, they are committing war crimes in Yemen, and they've been bombing Yemen because they are the proxy army of the United States, which is all true. Yes. Under Obama, this is exactly what has happened. And we see right now that Saudi Arabia is continually doing this. Now, behind the scenes to all of this, Trump made this agreement with Saudi Arabia for a specific reason. And it's not for those individuals to keep jobs. That's just a benefit to the deal. But there was a reason why he went to Saudi Arabia. There's a reason why he's going to Israel. There's a reason why he's going to Brussels and to the Vatican. Because behind the scenes, behind all of this that is happening right now, he is going to stop the wars in all these countries. Now, everyone's going, you are off. You're a rocker. You are crazy. No, that's not why he's going here. It's to create more war. That's what he wants you to think. Just like with North Korea, he wants everyone to think that he's going to war. Now, remember, who wants the war? The deep state. Trump never said, let's continue with the wars. Let's make sure they don't cross our red lines. He doesn't speak in absolutes. He's doing things behind the scenes, and he needs to do it very carefully in the way he does it. He's telling these countries right now that things are about to come to an end. Now, Tillerson was out there, and he's saying that the foreign trip is meant to confront threat of terrorism. What he's saying, it is time to basically confront those individuals that created the terrorists in all of these countries. Now, people, of course, are going to say, no, that's not what he's saying. They're telling you right now he is going after the terrorists. When I say the terrorists, I'm not talking about Iran. He's not going after Syria. He's going after the paid mercenaries. The paid mercenaries are the terrorist groups that have been created by the neocons, by the central banks, by the deep state. Now, the president was giving a speech in Saudi Arabia saying that he's going to fight Islamist extremism and he's going to push this agenda. And he made a promise that America will not seek to impose our way of life on others, which the deep state has been doing. And I'm going to explain all this on how he's doing this behind the scenes. So what we're seeing right now is that he's out there and he's doing things behind the scenes, just like North Korea, where he continually says, if the right conditions are met, I will meet with North Korea. North Korea is saying, listen, you know something? If you stop the hostile provocations against our country, we will speak to you. So Trump is looking at this and saying, maybe these are the right conditions. Maybe this is then we can speak to them. If you notice, he wants to speak to all these countries, but it's difficult to do when the corporate media and the deep state is pushing for war. He has to build this up to make it look like it's the other country who wants to speak to him. Because he can't come out and do this because the deep state would be all over him. And if they see this happening, well, they would start something. It's a very tricky thing that he needs to do at this point. Now, Tillerson is also saying that they might speak to Iran. He says, "I'd never shut off the phone to anyone that wants to talk or have a productive conversation." That he is open to a new dialogue with the Iranians. So they're open to a dialogue with North Korea. They're open to a dialogue with Iran. And they're going after the paid mercenaries in all of these countries. This is their goal right now. And we can see that North Korea, well, they fired another missile. It landed in international waters, and they've been firing off missiles going all the way back, past 2006 up to the present day. And they never stopped pushing their missile testing because they realize eventually what the deep state is going to do is they're going to invade North Korea and have regime change. This has been their plan for quite a while. Now, out in Iraq, we see that the Iraqi Special Forces, they declared their mission complete in Mosul right now, and they said that they will fight again if called on to do so. We also see that there's a Norwegian force that was deployed at the Al-Tanf border. Now, remember, the deep state wants to protect this area right now. They want the border because this is how they're bringing troops into Syria. This is where they train their paid mercenaries. This is where they basically give them the supplies they need. They fund them and everything else. We see that Russia, we see that Syria, they are trying to capture this area because it would cut them off completely. Now, Russia, they might deploy special operation forces to this area in the southeastern part of Syria. Now, they do have these special forces that are working in the central and western areas of northern Syria, and it looks like they're going to be bringing these forces down to this area. And you can see there's a big buildup of troops, of Russian and Syrian troops on the border because they understand that the deep state, they're going to make a move to get into Syria because they're still trying to reach their goal. They still want Assad out. They still want a war. They haven't stopped doing this. Now, behind the scenes right now, what we are seeing is that Russia and the United States, they're going to be working with each other to get rid of the paid mercenaries. A proposal is in the works right now to deconflict operations in Syria with Russia. U.S. forces are legally precluded from coordinating with the Russians. This is coming from General Joseph Dunford, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But the U.S. and Russian militaries have been maintaining multiple communication channels to deconflict operations in Syria. We have a proposal that we're working on with the Russians right now, but the details of the cooperation and what they're working on right now, well, he cannot offer them. Now, the Russians are very enthusiastic about this new plan. Now, think about when Trump had Lavrov and Kislyak meet him in the Oval Office. And, of course, Trump gave them some information about what the terrorists are doing. They have already formulated plans on beating the terrorists. Now, the president has the right to do this. And we can see right now that General Mattis is out there, and he's saying that we are going to carry out annihilation campaign so we don't simply translate the problem from one location to another. Instead, our intent is that the foreign fighters don't get out. Now, it's funny how he called them the foreign fighters because the actual terrorist groups in there, they are the paid mercenaries. They're not part of Syria. They're not part... the whole thing is made up of paid mercenaries from the deep state. We've known this for a very long time. Mattis also reported that Trump has delegated the ability to authorize military operations to him and to commanders on the ground to speed up these operations. Now, a lot of people saying, wow, Trump just gave all the power to the Pentagon. Now, remember, the Pentagon is made up of those people that are working with him, and then there's other individuals who want the war, like the deep state. So there's two sides here. The people that he's giving the power to, they're working with him. They're working with him to go after and surround these foreign fighters, the paid mercenaries, and actually get rid of them. This is the plan, and he's out touring Saudi Arabia, Israel, Brussels, the Vatican, telling them that this is all about to come to an end. He is planning and strategizing to basically, I should say covertly, maneuver a position where he controls the entire situation. Now, a lot of people are sitting there going, how could this possibly be? There's no way he's doing this. He's working for the bankers. Actually, he isn't. He's working with Russia. He's working with China. He's working with North Korea. He's working with the Philippines. He's working with many countries. And he's working with many individuals to help him through this. Now, the corporate media is going to keep everyone busy with Comey's father, with what Comey said, how Comey's going back on his word, how he lied to Congress, and they're just going to keep up the propaganda because they have nothing else. They have to keep it up with the Russian collusion, and they're going to continually put out all this propaganda to try to bring him down. And this is the part of the deep state plan because they know exactly that he's doing something out there. He's working to bring them down, and they have no way of getting out of this. Well, they do. They can create a huge event, which they might do, and they can assassinate him. I mean, they're going to try legally to get rid of him, but that's going to be quite difficult. The mental route, I don't think, is going to work. The impeachment is going to take way too long. So they only really have two options, is to create a huge event or to basically assassinate him. Now, we need to remember, and everyone thinks like, well, how could this be happening behind this? Doesn't make sense. Remember back in 1933 with Major General Smedley Butler, where the Wall Street bankers decided that a fascist dictatorship in the United States based on the one, they were basing it on the one in Italy, would be far better for the business interests than Roosevelt's New Deal, because his deal threatened massive wealth redistribution to recapitalize the working and middle class of America. So what happened was the Wall Street tycoons back then recruited General Butler to lead the overthrow of the U.S. government and install a Secretary of General Affairs who would be answerable to Wall Street and not the people. So they were using General Smedley Butler to do this. Now, he went along with this up until a certain point. And as he was going along with this, they thought, yes, he's doing it, but covertly behind the scenes, he wasn't going along with it. He was getting ready to expose them. He was getting ready to show that this is what the Wall Street bankers were doing. And when he did this and he brought it up to Congress, which were in the pocket of Wall Street, they didn't do anything about it. They refused to act. When Roosevelt learned of the planned coup, he demanded the rest of the plotters. But the Wall Street plotters, well, they said, if you do this, we will crash the economy. So you cannot touch us. Remember, same thing with Trump. These individuals are very powerful. Trump wants to own the crash. He doesn't want the central bankers to own it because they would own the narrative. So he is working behind the scenes right now, trying to make it seem like he's still going along with what they're doing. He's not really doing much. He's a bull in a china shop. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's a crazy man. This is all part of his plan. And if you notice, and since we've been talking about it, especially with Harley Schlanger on the interview that I did with him, we can see that he's maneuvering very, very slowly and quietly because he doesn't want this to really come out. And we know that the corporate media is not going to report on this because they don't do investigating reporting. And he's continually doing this and trying to gain control of the entire situation, because if he can gain control out in the Middle East, control the paid mercenaries, have them surrounded, have control within all different parts in North Korea, in the Middle East. He will have control over these central bankers, over the deep state, and he will be able to basically put his plan forward by having us join the Belt and Road, by crashing the system, by having a plan to restart the system, to having a plan to bring back manufacturing. This is all in the works. Does it mean it's going to work? We don't know as of yet. But we can see that he is planning to do all of this. And he can't do everything at once. It has to be done very slowly. It has to be done behind the scenes, so they're not really looking at what he is doing. Now, of course, they do have some sense of what he's trying to do, and this is the nervous part of this whole plan, because as they see what he's doing and as he continually does this, and they get word that, well, wait a minute, the forces are actually destroying the Islamic State, the paid mercenaries, we're not going to war with North Korea. This is where the deep state is going to react. And they're going to react in one or two ways. Either they're going to assassinate him, or they're going to create this event that we've never seen before. Maybe this cyber attack. We can see they demonstrated their ability to hit almost every single system, computer system out there, and bring everything to a screeching halt. And that was really benign. They have other weapons that they can use to actually bring down the system. So this whole thing is happening right in front of us, and we are watching it all being played out, and a lot of it is behind the scenes. A lot of it you might not think is happening, but it is. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.